Hey guys, I'm not in my usual haunts because I'm out and about, but I wanted to send you a quick video about week 11 and Sandy Pentland, Amy Webb, and some of the disasters that Google and Facebook are doing. You know, normally we'd think of Google and Facebook as progressive companies that you'd want to work for, but lately, I just wonder, because they've been doing some crazy things. Facebook more than Google, I must admit, but still, even Google is they're acting now like the new bullies in town, the new monopolistic attitudes, etc., etc. So make sure you check those videos. Those are important things. And of course, you know, The Social Dilemma is kind of like the movie on Netflix that you should definitely watch. But in terms of Sandy Pentland, I wanted to give you guys a quick note on him. If you guys just follow one expert from this whole thing, it would be Sandy. So make sure you keep tabs. You look at everything that he's done on the web. Just literally, there's a book called Social Physics. I'll send you guys the links. It's about how you can, you can literally change people's mind, and by interacting with them. So just by hanging out with people that think differently from you, you end up changing your mind subconsciously, and he's proven it. So that's one of his tenets. The other big one that he has is he can actually predict how rich you're going to be, and how rich the city is going to be, and how successful a country is going to be in terms of salary, GDP. He can predict if you're going to pay your credit card bill, if you're going to default on your mortgage. How can he do all these things? It's crazy, but he can do it with mobility data. And mobility data is basically the data that comes from the cell towers. So it tells you where you've been, what time you wake up, where you go, where you work, where you have coffee, where you shop. And the magic is not so much, he doesn't even need your salary, he doesn't need your bank records, he doesn't need any of that. Because think about it, what do people do when they run out of money? They start going out less, they start contracting, they start closing down their expenses, and he can actually figure all that out just from your little ping on your cell phone and how you're pinging all the towers, and that's all he needs. He can extrapolate the rest. It's amazing what they can do. And Bancomer is already using that technology here in Mexico to predict if they should give you a credit card or not, just by your mobility data. So what they do is they give Bancomer gives Sandy's company, which one of his companies here in the one that's has the Mexican region is called Big Data, and they have the Telmex towers available, and the AT&T towers, and so Bancomer pays an arm and a leg to basically get this information every month, and they give them 50,000 numbers. That's what they need to get started. They give them 50,000 numbers, phone numbers of people that have defaulted on their credit cards. So what he does is Sandy's company, they look at those 50,000 numbers. They don't know who they are, so they don't need to know. They don't know who they are. They just know those 50,000 numbers, and they look at the tower data, and they go back 6 months, and they see what they were doing 6 months ago, 5 months ago, 4 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months ago, 1 month ago, and then 15 days, 10 days, 5 days. They can predict to the day when you're going to start defaulting on your credit card. They can predict if you give them, it's crazy because they can do everything. You give them 50,000 phone numbers of people that have crashed their car, and they can predict the people that are going to have accident. They are more likely to have accidents based on their moving patterns, their speed, their recklessness, so to speak. It's really crazy, and he actually has more. He's more accurate than the credit bureau, which is amazing, no? Pero bueno, so Sandy Pentland is amazing. You should follow him, and the other big one, and the reason how he can predict how rich you're going to be and how successful you're going to be money wise, not other things, but it's because of breadth and depth. So he calculates the breadth of your relationships and the depth of your relationships. The depth is how many times the frequency you visit the same people on a weekly basis, and the breadth is how many new people you visit on a weekly or monthly basis. And it turns out that the more people, it's like cross-pollination. The more people you talk to, the more people you visit, and the bigger your networking circle is, then the more success you will have. And so keep that in mind, guys, because now with the internet, you can make your circle really big, especially now during the the pandemic. You can stretch out via LinkedIn and via some of these websites and meet people from across the world and network, and if you do that, you're going to be more successful because you're going to be cross-pollinating. One of his companies, eToro, he has hundreds of companies that he's invested in for decades and decades. But one of his companies, eToro, he realized that the people that the brokers that talk to other people, they get great results. The brokers that don't talk to other people, they get 30% less money, 30% less, and the brokers that talk to just brokers that think like themselves, that's called an echo chamber. So think of the Republican